The year is 1610. Snow blankets the hills of what is now Slovakia. Soldiers approach the gates of Chete Castle. Inside, they make a horrifying discovery. Blood-stained walls, lifeless bodies, and terrified girls begging for help. The woman at the center of it all? A Hungarian countess. A noble woman. An alleged serial killer who would go down in history as the most prolific female murderer of her time. This is the chilling story of Elizabeth Báthory, the Blood Countess. Elizabeth Báthory was born in 1560 into one of Hungary's most powerful and influential noble families. She grew up surrounded by privilege, wealth, and political connections that reached deep into the heart of the kingdom. Known for her intelligence and beauty, Elizabeth was well-educated and fluent in multiple languages, a rarity for women in the 16th century. At 15 years old, she married Count Ferenc Nadasdy, a prominent soldier nicknamed the Black Hero of Hungary for his brutal campaigns against the Ottoman Empire. As part of the marriage arrangement, Elizabeth was gifted Chete Castle, a remote fortress that would later become the stage for unspeakable horrors. And despite what fairy tales might suggest, their marriage was anything but romantic. Ferenc was often away at war, leaving Elizabeth to manage their vast estates alone. Behind the polished image of nobility, there were rumors of cruelty, dark obsessions, and a household run with iron discipline. As the 16th century gave way to the 17th, whispers began to spread throughout the villages surrounding the castle. Young peasant girls who were sent to work as servants were vanishing. Some families claimed their daughters were beaten to death for minor mistakes. Others spoke of unspeakable tortures. At first, these were just whispers. After all, Elizabeth Báthory was a countess, untouchable, powerful, and feared. Few dared to accuse someone of her status. What happened inside Chete Castle would cement Elizabeth Báthory's name in infamy. Witnesses and servants later described horrifying acts, brutal beatings, burning of hands, mutilation with sharp instruments, and girls locked outside in freezing weather until they died. Some even claimed Elizabeth herself bit chunks of flesh from their bodies. Over time, the stories became more sensational. She was accused of torturing and murdering hundreds of young women between the late 1500s and early 1600s. And then came the most infamous legend of all, that Elizabeth bathed in the blood of virgins to maintain her youth and beauty. While historians doubt the literal truth of this claim, the legend captured the imagination of Europe and gave her the nickname, the Blood Countess. Eventually, even the royal court could no longer ignore the growing number of missing girls. When daughters of lesser nobility disappeared after arriving at Chete Castle, the scandal reached the king's ears. In 1610, King Matthias II ordered Count György Thurzo to investigate. Thurzo and his men raided the castle, and what they allegedly found shocked them. Dead and dying girls lay throughout the castle. Survivors spoke of months of torture. Elizabeth was arrested, but because of her noble status, she was never put on public trial. A scandal involving such a powerful family could have shaken the entire Hungarian aristocracy. Instead, she was quietly confined to a set of rooms within her own castle, effectively imprisoned for life. Her servants, however, were not so fortunate. They were interrogated, tried, and many were executed. Their testimonies painted Elizabeth as the mastermind behind hundreds of deaths, though historians debate whether these confessions were obtained through torture themselves. The official number of victims varies wildly, from around 80 to over 600. The true figure may never be known. Elizabeth Báthory died in 1614, 4 years after her arrest, still sealed inside her castle walls. In the centuries since, her story has become part legend, part historical mystery. Some historians believe she was genuinely a sadistic killer, one of history's earliest recorded female serial killers. Others argue that she was framed by powerful men who envied her vast wealth and land. So, was Elizabeth Báthory a cold-blooded murderer who preyed on the powerless? Or a victim of political intrigue in a brutal era? Whatever the truth, her legacy has endured. Her story inspired vampire myths, novels, films, and the enduring archetype of the bloodthirsty countess. This has been Unearthed Horrors of History, where history meets horror. Tell us what you think in the comments. And if you love unraveling history's darkest legends, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more chilling stories.